Hi guys. First thing to say is I'm not in my van, and that makes this quite scary for me to film. I'm actually in my house, I'm in my bedroom, and my life's not perfect. I have problems like everybody else, regardless of the global pandemic and the war. And I would much rather be talking to you from inside Scooby to my van because I feel safer in there. Mark, the paint guy, did a video yesterday which got me thinking. He was just overwhelmed with Jeffy Bear's gift of the van and all the support and subs he had since picked up because of that. And Michael Kent is overjoyed with his puppies, and I suspect not quite sure why so many people have subbed to him since Brent's awful accident that robbed Brent of his beloved dog Goldberg. And all of this was going around in my head because we've all been watching the horror of Brent's loss coinciding with the joy of puppies being born. And then we had Mark. And also we had a comment from Chrome about there not being much traction on the new van tour videos that he's getting Paul to do in the USA. And then there was Anderson Cooper. And Anderson Cooper was talking with Stephen Colbert about the atrocities and the war crimes and the dead children. And I make no apologies for saying dead children, and I will explain that in a second. But it was Mark's comments, because he was clearly just so overwhelmed and didn't understand. And Chrome was saying a couple of weeks ago that he and Jeffy had had a discussion about why they were so popular on YouTube, because they were the loners in school. Nobody liked them before. And it made me think about why we're all here, and one of the reasons I'm having problems deciding what to talk about, which is why I didn't start up until I had to actually make a connection to Jeffy Bear and say, look, Jeffy, I think what you're doing, you're awesome and you've got this. And I felt I needed to say that before he went in for his operation, which is why I finally started recording. And it's, what are we all doing here? What am I doing here? Watching YouTube for several hours every day. What are you doing here? What was Mark hoping for when he set up a YouTube channel? What was any of us hoping for? And I think what's really important to say is that we're here to bear witness, and we're bearing witness in each other's lives in a way that is honest and vulnerable and scary. Lots of people on YouTube do what they think the content needs to be for clicks, which is fair enough. I've probably done the same in the thumbnail myself. When I reached out to Jeffy Bear before his operation, I think what I really wanted to say was, Jeffy, I'm bearing witness for you. We all bear witness for Chrome, and there are moments in Chrome's journey where we've just been devastated. Chrome has a tattoo on his hand with a particular time, and that's when Disco died. And anybody who's watched those videos knows that we bore witness for Chrome then. And we're bearing witness on the happy things. Emmy and Chrome and Joseph out in the backcountry yesterday having fun, and Emmy and Chrome loving each other and giving each other giggles and kisses, and the look on Chrome's face when he talks about Emmy. We're bearing witness to that too. We're bearing witness to the good things and the bad things. And it's so often the case we feel driven to bear witness to the bad things and forget to mention the good things. And I'm going to try and make sure that I don't do that. But Mark, Jeffy, Chrome, the reason we all like you now, but we weren't at school with you, I mean, presume Mark was at school too, is because we're seeing a part of a human being that doesn't have a filter. We're seeing into aspects of your life that we can't pretend are all made up. Now, we might not like you if we met you. I mean, I might sit round the table with all of you at dinner and think, oh my God, get me out of here. I don't have to like you to understand that I'm bearing witness to important things in your life. And that as human beings, that's what we do. And in fact, Chrome, it's the answer as to why your the van life videos aren't getting much traction, and that's because they're not about people and they're not about lives. They're about where somebody decided to put the hook to make sure that their towel didn't fall down, which is okay. But when you do a van tour, Chrome, you do a van tour through your eyes, and we make that journey with you. We bear witness to what you're doing as a person. And when you do an interview with somebody for van life, there is a relationship between you and me and the person that you're interviewing. And I have access to that person through your ability to focus the activity of what you're doing. It's not about where you put a hook for a towel. It's about the humanity behind all that. And that's why we're on YouTube. We're looking for humanity because we're human beings and we're finding humanity and we're bearing witness to it. I have people on my feed that I know I would never be able to stay in the room with if I met them in person, because they have a religious belief or a prejudice that I detest and would not be able to accommodate. But I can look at what they're doing and the content they're putting out, and I can say, yeah, I think this content speaks to me, and I'm learning things from it, and I hope that you're learning things from me. And particularly, I am definitely going to teach people who've never picked up a knife and fork, and I mean that, to cook, but that's another story. We're bearing witness, and we're bearing witness to each other's lives. And actually, I think that's really valuable, and that's why we're here, Mark. And that's why people have responded so well to you and the fact that Jeffy gave you his van. Because we all look at the world and think, oh, I wish I could do something about this. I wish I could help. And when we help each other through YouTube, there's a direct connection there, a direct humanity. And it's not to do with whether or not that you'd have been the loner in the lunchtime table. It's about, through this medium, we can speak to each other and it not matter that we're not at the same table, or that you were the cool kid and I was the reject, or that I was the cool kid and you were the reject. There's an honesty to this life. And I'm not saying that everybody on YouTube is honest. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that we're collecting a community around us. And it's people who are being honest about things. And it might not necessarily be something that we approve of or something that we want to help with. But we see that person. We're bearing witness to their journey. And that's what we're doing here, bearing witness. And that came to Anderson Cooper and the fact that as far as Ukraine is concerned, all we can really do at the moment is bear witness and see and not allow it to be forgotten. This is the first war. It's not a war. A war is a legal entity between two countries who've decided to fight each other. This is a genocidal invasion. And I have no doubt that if Putin does succeed in taking Ukraine, they will kill hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. in order to control them, because I don't think Putin is sane at the moment. I think after having 20 years of everybody telling him how wonderful he is and how brilliant he is, it would be like if Trump was in charge of the world. Oof, we've been there. We don't want to do that again. And again, I watch people, I subscribe to people who adore Trump. I think he's the best thing since sliced bread, and I can't get on board with that, but I can listen to them about other things that I share humanity with. So sharing humanity through bearing witness, that's what we're doing here. And that's what makes sense, Mark, of what happened when we found out that Jeffy was giving you his van. Because when Chrome introduced you to us as this young man living in a car trying to survive, we all understood that. We all understood the struggle. We all understood the pain. We all understood the frustration. And we understood the safety that Jeffy gave you. And we'd watched Jeffy being given that safety in his own right. Jeffy was originally in a motorhome that, strangely enough, had quite a lot of mould in it, and it wasn't doing him any good. And so he had to change to the blue van, his bear's den. And we helped put bits of machinery in that to make it work. And in response, we had the ability to see a real human life through Jeffy. Even if I said we don't like him, we might not like him. I might hate him if I met him in real life, because he might have character traits that would annoy me. I might have character traits that will annoy you. But through this medium, through bearing witness, something good, something whole, something purposeful in humanity can emerge. And so I'm going to try and keep making these videos and posting them. I have 2 videos I did yesterday. I blabbered on in the car about 2 different things. I have no idea if I'll have the courage to actually post them, because the doubts are, I've said something controversial, I don't want a flame war in my comments, I don't want, I do not want arguments. I do not read the comments. I stopped reading the comments over a decade ago. I am a survivor of the great Usenet flame wars from the 1980s. I learned about not reading the comments and not responding a long time ago. And I know that I could put up a post saying water is beautiful and we all need it to survive and we should make sure water is clean. And I could end up with quite a few people telling me that I haven't understood that water is scary, that it drowned their dog, and how dare I mention something so awful. I can't find a way to please you all. All I can do is speak honestly on my own behalf and bear witness. So you're bearing witness to me, I'm bearing witness to you, and I actually think it's making the world a more tolerable place. So for all the horror and the internet wars and the blood on the walls and Facebook ruined my life, there's an awful lot of women who have refuge because they got help. There's an awful lot of people loving and caring for others, regardless of whether or not they like them very much. And it's so important that we bear witness. And that's what I wanted to say. That's why we're here. We bear witness to each other's lives, to the good bits, to the bad bits, to the bits we don't understand, to the bits we do understand. And if there's a content creator who is capable of making their content about them in a personal way, as Chrome does, as Emmy does, as Jeffy does, as hopefully Mark will, as Brent does, then we're probably actually giving something to the world. So think of that. And again, I hope I get to post this video because it's very naked. It's very fragile. It's very vulnerable, this sort of talk, and putting it out on the internet. Just remember, you've got this. We will get through. Not everybody will get through whole. Not everybody will get through in a good place. Bad things will happen. But we will get through, because humanity reaches to humanity. And even when we get it wrong, we can always try again the next day. Straight to Scarlett O'Hara, I think there, if I can find it. I don't want to be doing any more editing. I know. I said I wouldn't, but you know, that's the way it is. We've got this. You've got this. Take care.